Hi, I'm Rob. I make you better. That's what I do. Sometimes when people come and ask me questions about, learning specific about my swing or such that will help people, because a lot of people, they think they can understand something by, looking at it. So here's my recommendation, what I teach. If you want to learn this, you need to learn that skills make the difference versus conceptually understand something. People teach golf wrong and they don't even know it. I've been doing that for 120 years. So I use, the thumb of the shaft. I don't do this modern bullshit. Everybody who's teaching you this doesn't understand the golf swing. This is what makes it difficult, right? So you can hold it in two ways. You can hold it like you do a hammer or more in the pad of the hand, right? And I use Hans' version of this grip because, I didn't teach him specifics. I just, thumb off the shaft and he just, did that. And allows your right elbow to go into this position, which people call a good position at impact, right? You have that kind of angle with your right elbow, not that one. You see Tiger Woods have this one, by the way. That's why he can hit fairways with the driver when he could play really well. So what Hans did was to make a better grip, right? And that's why it's, what I teach it. Now, here's the thing. This, with the elbow, I did a few weeks ago, and no one has come on my YouTube channel watching that saying, well, that fixes over the top, right? That's how much you know about the golf swing and golf swing dynamics. So, what I do first for people is then to, since I don't teach golf, lessons or, golf clubs, because I have an illness called an ME, CFS, chronic fatigue syndrome, or long COVID nowadays. That means that you get a viral infection and then your body doesn't work after in the way it's supposed to. Because it hits, oxygen uptake and other things that can go wrong. Anyway, listen to what I'm saying right now. Use a blade club. You don't need a whole set, just a 9-iron and a wedge. Use a blade club. This allows you to have feedback. So you can feel if you hit the sweet spot when you do chips and pitches first and foremost, right? Or a full swing or whatever, right? So use a blade club. All those game improvement clubs, not good. You can use them once you build the skill of feeling through vibration in the shaft if you hit the sweet spot or not on the golf club. If you can't decide and, do that, don't use a game improvement club. Use a blade club, get the skill. Now, once you do that, the second thing what happens when you hit the ball is how the ball behaves. You can see how that ball behaves after you hit it, what kind of spin rate, how it go left or right or straight or whatever. If it stops immediately or rolls out, that's a skill you need to have to know which one of your swing shots is going to be there. I have a lot of birds here today, a lot of birdies, as I like to say. Now, once you've done that, that allows you to create a composite of feel in how this works. But that's a skill that you need to have for feedback, because if you don't have any feedback when you practice, you can't really improve, right? I was going to move this back a little bit here, right? So, what I start with first with people to learn that to use Hans' version of my grip, set up a little bit open, not a lot. When you set up like that, you want to keep your body still. And the reason for that is to make sure you don't do any of your bad habits. Every amateur I've seen thus far can't follow instructions. You're doing it wrong every fucking time. Even though when you think you're doing it correctly, you're going to do it wrong. So what you have to do is to do what I do demonstrate here. You have to have the camera set up down the line. So you keep your body still, you lift the club up, boom, you hit the ground. You can't hit the ball here, right? Because if I move the ball here, I can't hit it because I'm not moving my body, I'm just lifting my club up and doing that. You need to do that, right? Once you've done that a few times, lift the club up, keep the body still. Now everybody in modern golf talk about, how important weight shift and weight transfer is. Well, because they can't do it, right? Because when you put the thumb on the shaft, that fucks that up. They don't tell you that because they don't know. So what you want to understand here is once you lift the club up and you use Hans' version of my grip, you let the club fall And then you're going to hit it straight and crisp every time once you master this. Because weight shift and range transfer is just automatic with Hans' version of my grip. Boom, like that. It's not something you need to learn. When you put the thumb on the shaft, you create something called grip tension or grip pressure. Because as soon as you get to impact position, your wrist now will do that. That means that your grip will tighten at impact. And that most people do too much. So now they can hit thin shots, fat shots, and lose distance or whatever else. Because the thumb on the shaft builds bad habits. And they've been teaching you that shit for 120 years. And no one after 120 years has understood that except me. So pay attention to what I teach because it fucking works. I actually have a 60-year-old conversation yesterday, and they were telling me, they said, well, I wish I knew this 30 years ago because golf is so easy and fun now. And they have the same information as you guys and ladies and everybody else out there. All right, so what you do then is to learn the skill, slightly open stance, lift the club up, and turn. Now at some point, you're going to get to a point where you master the skill. It may take, for some of you, this may take a few weeks, because it's not enough in one session for, it can take a few months, and maybe for some of you it'll take a few years. I don't know, people are different, right? So at some point when you learn this, you want to pay attention to it. Do I hit? Don't practice on the range with plastic mats. A plastic mat on the range bounces the club, boom, 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 boom. Hans was complaining that he was hitting a little bit short on the range, and then when he went out on the grass, he suddenly hit it 30 yards longer, and he was like, "What the fuck, man?" And I said, "Well, physics, right?" Anyway, so what you do then is practice this until you get crisp contact every time. You use a blade so you can get the feedback, so you know that you're hitting the ball and not the grass or the ground or thin or thick or stuff like that. That's how you build feedback, by feeling where that ball hits the club head. And you have to use a blade. Game improvement club doesn't work. So buy one club, get thick grips, arthritis, 6-7 layers of grip tape, something like that. That's what I use. You may need to use less, right? Keep doing that until you get different kind of trajectory and shot making. And then once you get that, oh yeah, okay. Then you know that, the ball goes straight, there's no problem. And then you can start, experimenting with maybe higher shots or something like that. Now, master this, that's a skill. You can't understand it by watching it. You actually have to do it, you have to feel it, you have to see that the ball behaves the way you want. And to build that internal composite map of what people call feel. Feel is actually a learned thing after the fact. They can't teach you feel in modern golf because they don't understand it. All right. Let's go for the next section. Now we're going to hit a pitch shot after that front lead. All right? When you hit a pitch shot, what you're going to do is keep your body still. And I tell you again, set up the camera so you can do this. Make sure you keep the body still, because we don't want this or that and a turn or rotation, whatever people call it. You cannot do. What you need to do is to lift the club up and tilt the lift. That's all you need to do. If you don't do it this way, it won't work. And you have to video yourself, because you will probably do it the old way, the bad habit way, the way they teach you modern golf. It doesn't work. So why do we want to do that? Just because people teach you specifics? Now this is called the force drill. The reason why it's called the force drill is not because of Star Wars and a religion of that, and George Lucas, using mitochondria or something like that. This is to feel, because no one in golf can teach you feel. I am the only one that can do that. So what you have here is you're going to do a tilt and lift. And then, since you already mastered this, shipping, and you just do the same thing. Tilt and lift, no turn, and do the same thing. And the ball goes straight. And you have to do this until you get that crisp contact. You can feel the difference and you can repeat it. For some of you, this will take a few weeks, a few months of practice, maybe a few years even. But here's the thing, once you master this, you're going to have a 2 pro level or better short game. And I know some of you say, well, I'm a 20 handicap, Rob, I can't learn a 2 pro level short game. But yes, of course you can. This is what I'm teaching right here. This is how you learn it. They don't teach you this in modern golf. Many of you will think and say to me, but Rob, I want the golf swing specifics. If you can't do this, it doesn't matter what I teach you in golf swing. And I know you don't understand that. You believe that you can do it anyway. But if you have a lot of bad habits and you can't do a tilt, you have to videotape from this angle, because everybody I see in S4, they're gonna do this, and then you're wrong. Because you have to do a tilt on the left, tilt on the left, and then what people say to me is that it feels bad. And I say, yeah, I know. You still have to do it. Because your brain will learn to adapt to the situation. As 7 of 9 would say, I will adapt. And if you don't know who 7 of 9 is, man, you miss out on life, I guess. 7 of 9. So what you do then is to tilt the left and learn to deal with that. And when you address the ball, make sure you address the ball more on the, the toe of the club. And there is 2 perspectives here. One when you look down, and one when you go from here. So what I see here is like a club head is hardly, touching the ball, and that's almost 50%. You can probably go over even here, outside the ball, and it still will be inside the ball, because perspective changes if you look down or from the side. They don't teach you that in modern golf either, all right? So what you do then is to learn this, because this will develop your skill set by using feedback from the club hitting the ball, trajectory of the ball, the spin rate and so on. And then you will be in an internal composite map that will cause a feeling. Once you have the skill and you can do it, that's what you do. During this process, it's going to feel weird with the grip and such. I know some people say, but your right hand is like pointing right up. Modern golf wants you to do this. Yeah, because if you do that, my elbow goes here. That's why you do over the top. And I've been teaching that shit for 120 years. And they can't fix you over the top because they teach you the modern golf grip with the thumb on the shaft until you have that perfect wheel or something like that, perfect grip. And it causes all of your over the top issues. Now, I did an updated instruction set for this, a few weeks ago. You can watch that if you want to. So, tilt and left, and do that. It will feel a little bit constricted at first. Once you get a hang of that, you can do it, Okay, I'm gonna tilt and lift. Make sure your videotape is on this line. You can make sure you don't turn and rotate, because it's not gonna feel good. Just so you know that. Tilt and lift. Keep doing that. And the ball goes straight again. A little bit slight of a full fade action. And that's what you want to see. Because when you do it correctly, you're gonna pull. The ball is gonna start a little bit left, a little bit to the left, and then they're gonna fade back to the right. Once you master that shot pattern, you're gonna drop scores of your handicap. One of the people that have been teaching, this idea is Lee Como in C-Motion. The problem with him, sorry Lee, is that his explanation doesn't work. So if you're trying to explain something you're doing, you're gonna get it wrong. My member was telling me that you have to release from the top. And the problem with that, because Nicholas told people, I release from the top, or, but that's not happening. Because if I'm going to release from the top here, that happens. And then people say, well, then you need to rotate your body properly. And I go, well, that's not how it works, right? Because what you get is this. That position allows you to, now you can release. Because when you get here, There's very little motion and all this stuff. This is where you can release the ship, not up here. If I release from the top, I will, cast it. So what he's telling people, Jack Nicklaus, he won 80 majors, really good player, is fucking stupid. And the reason why he's so fucking stupid is because he doesn't understand what he was doing. I can explain it to him better than he can understand what he's, trying to do, when he was playing. And that's one of the problems. A lot of you guys and ladies and everybody else there, all this information you have about golf is wrong. It just makes it difficult. Just to understand, TrackMan, which is a scientific tool I use to set up all that, it shows that amateurs, white male amateurs hit 90%, 9 out of 10 hits 250 yards and shorter. And those 10%, they are scratch players, 2 pros, and better. And really low handicappers. Right? And the reason why you can't create power starts with the thumb on the shaft and the golf grip. That's what causes all these problems. You can't generate power in a good way. And if you try to do that, what will happen is that your lower back will be hit. Because when you hit the ball at impact, your body mass can double. So if you weigh 100 kilos, now you have 200 kilos on your left side getting, at impact. That's a lot of force. And then you have to jump to fix that because you're stuck. Or modern golf. All right. So what you do then for a few weeks, every range session you go, make sure you videotape every session also from the down the line. Make sure you don't turn, because that will happen later on naturally. But you have to limit your body from doing what it's supposed to do, because if you start going the inside or turn, you're doing it wrong. Tilt and lift, short, hit short. And it will feel constricted, but the ball will still go straight, right? And when it feels constricted, it's because you didn't turn, because you have to start learning to turn before the club hits the ball. Oh yeah, I need to do that also. Oh yeah, I made a video about that. Basics and such, or whatever it was. So you go, oh yeah, I need to turn before the club hits the ball. Tilt the lift, turn, and I go, fucking hey man. That's how you learn this shit. Yeah. Motherfuckers, as I like to say. Some people, tell me I swear a lot. And I can say, well, what do you mean? Fucking is not a swear word. It's something people do together, usually. Sometimes with a lot of other people. And that's a swear word? I don't get that. I mean, some people are going to tell us that, hugging is bad also. That's a swear word. You can't hug people because that's bad. Right? I have to wait for the car to pass because it fucking annoys me. So this is how you learn it. You learn the skill by doing it. You cannot understand this. Even if you conceptually understand what I'm talking about, you can't do it because the skill is a skill you can do, not something you understand. In a way, understanding is a skill too, because you will understand if you understand something or you're full of shit, right? Right, Sean Foley? Right, Tiger? So what you do then is to learn by understanding. If you don't keep your body still, you will want to do this. Now you start. You have to keep your body still and tilt and lift. And tilt and lift. And Lee Como's emotion, he has a daughter. She needs to do that a lot to fix her swing. This is the secret, allowing feedback to get in your system with a blade, using my grip, the enhanced version of it, so you can then learn to tilt and lift and start doing that. And once you get a hang of that, your short game will be, a whole other level. Second of all, that means that even if you miss the green, you know that you can handle it, getting up and down more often than not. So you're going to have a 2-pro level game. So when you hit this approach shot, your confidence goes up because you know that, it doesn't matter if I miss the green because my short game is really good. So I'm fine. And people playing with you, they're going to tell you, you know, man, your game is really taking off. And they would tell you, yeah, and they said, did you listen to David Ledbetter or Sean Foley or Monte Schumblom or Crossfield? And they would say, no, of course not, because, you know, they teach you shit. Sorry, guys, but you do. And if you don't understand something, and you teach to making it difficult for people to play golf after 120 years, someone like myself has to come along and tell you guys, and ladies, sorry, you're doing it wrong. This is how you learn the skill set of chipping and pitching, and that would translate to your approach shot. And once you can do it with your approach shot, it would translate to your swing at some point. It's just a matter of time and practice now. And you have to start with this. You can't start with the full golf swing, because if you do that, because if you start with the golf swing, you have all those habits. So I bet, wouldn't surprise me, everybody who's going to videotape the swing from down the line, and you're going to keep the body still and just do a tilt and lift, you're probably going to fail immediately. And you won't be able to do it. And when you do it correctly, your brain is going to tell you that it feels bad and this is not how it's supposed to be. And you'll be wrong, because your brain is wrong about that. Your brain is a contextual memory built, you know, by things that doesn't work so well. Most of it, at least. People think it's unconscious, but the unconscious doesn't exist because it's a contextual memory. In the context, you learn how things are supposed to be, even if it doesn't work. So when someone else like myself comes along and teaches you what works, your brain can't accept it at first because everybody else teaches something differently that doesn't work. But they tell you, if you keep doing it, it's going to work, but it never does. I have people who have played golf for 50 years. It never happened to them. They did everything they could. A year ago, one guy was telling me that he's going to go all in on my stuff. He's going to use, his grip, thicker clubs, and the takeaway stuff. Because 2 years earlier, he tried golf lessons and he lost 40 yards, and he couldn't get it back. His swing was, horrible, because he was starting to do this inside stuff, and really, doing, because they were teaching him that, it doesn't work. He got stuck, lost 40 yards. And last year when he started doing my stuff, I told him when he posted the first video, I said, you're doing it wrong. You have to keep your body still. You cannot move inside. You rotate and turn. And he said, but it feels bad. And I said, yeah, I know. Still have to do it until it feels good. During the summer, he regained the 40 yard he lost and added more distance. So this guy at age 50 sits at 290 yard average with his thumb off the shaft, thicker grips. Age 50, 290 yard average. That's pretty good, isn't it? Isn't that super level? And then he shot, at the end of the season, he shot the personal best one on the par on vacation. He probably had his best summer of golf last year. And now when he plays, he's already started playing a little bit. Everybody around him asking what he's doing, because he's just playing. It seems so easy. So you can either trust your golf PGA Tour license gurus, like Mike Malaska or Monte Schumblom or Sean Foley or Leber, whatever, right? Arm or whatever. Or you can start doing this and get good. What I teach works. What everybody else teach you, it's pretty much full of conceptual bullshit they don't even understand themselves. Once you put your thumb on the shaft, you're fucked. I didn't know that when I was playing golf. Now I know. I'm like, holy shit. No wonder people can play golf. And the people teaching you golf doesn't understand that. Everybody, if you tell them and watch this video, they're gonna tell you that I'm wrong when they are. Anyway, it's we had a weather shift in Sunday a couple of days ago. We went from around 15 degrees Celsius to 25, 26, whatever it is today, and it's just going to get a little bit warmer during the week. So basically, we got a little bit more than normal Swedish temperature summer temps here. But well, I guess it's nice. I don't like heat because of my illness. Because my body has to, deal with the heat and cool it down, and that costs a lot of energy. So Usually I'm pretty miserable during summer, sadly. I can't play golf. That's, it's a bummer. But this is, when you have a quality of life or not, uh, people who are, doesn't have this kind of illness, they don't really understand it because your quality of life goes to shit. But here what you do, you adapt to the situation. And what you learn in modern golf as far is conceptual bullshit, like release from the top, keep your head still, keep your left arm straight, width for power. All that is pure fucking bullshit. This is people who telling you to do things that doesn't fucking work. And then they tell you if you keep doing it, you're gonna get that distance, and you never get it. One of my testers, a few years back, he contacted me and asked me for help. He said, "Hey Rob, I found a comment of you online probably from Golf Direct. I was, writing some stuff there, and they were calling me crazy, right? But this guy contacted me and said, I tried for 5 years now, 5 years, okay? And I had 12 teachers. He tells me this straight off the bat. And I said, okay, and can you help me? I can't play golf because it goes to shit every time I go play. And I go back to those teachers and they can't help me. And I said, yeah, okay. And I did one session with him. Told him what to specifically to work on. That's the biggest secret in golf that no one knows about. Well, actually, a few now knows it. I have a few testers. And he told me, when he started working on that, the first range session he had, he started to hit the ball better than ever. He played a week ago or whatever it was, and he was telling me that he never played better golf ever. And he had so much fun and enjoyment of the game. Because what people teach you doesn't work so well. They create all these problems, and it starts with the thumb on the grip like that. It creates so many issues. Now you can learn kinda to play with it like 2+2, but they can't, really do it either. And the most funny thing about that, they can't have a connection. That thing Ballard talks about, teaching golf for 50 years or whatever. You can't have that. So everybody's doing, the towel under the arm and, doing all these drills, towel on the arm. But you're trying to, get back or find this connection. If you use Hans' version of my grip, you're going to get connection by default. And no one in golf can teach you that, except moi. So if you want to get good at golf and fix your game and swing and such, this today, what I've been teaching, is needed. The skills that you need to develop to rebuild your game and swing starts there. I know that, you want your golf swing, but you have so many bad habits, it's just a fucking mess. I can't teach people, because they have to spend probably half a year, 6 months more, doing, all the drills before they get to the point of understanding what they're supposed to do. Because this, what I'm teaching, goes against what everybody teaches in golf, except what Lee Comeau teaches. Even though his explanation, doesn't make sense. I understand what he's talking about, but you can't do it, really. Sorry, Lee. It's just how it works with the communication stuff. Try this out, Lee. I know you were, probably watching this. Try this out. Tell your daughter to do it for 10 sessions, and she's probably going to have a better C-motion swing. Go figure. The important thing here is to understand what they teach you in modern golf is conceptual bullshit they don't understand, and I teach you skills. Once you learn the difference is that you actually have to do this, not watch it and talk about it. You have to videotape yourself from down the line every time, watch the video, and you're going to probably find the first few times you want to go inside and turn and rotate, and you're not supposed to do that. And you have to do it this way, otherwise it won't work. I can tell people this and repeat it because I have to. But you have to repeat the same thing for most people, somewhere between 3 to 10 times, some even more than that, before your brain registers what actually I've been saying all the time. And then people go, but I understand now, yeah, because it takes 10 repetitions before your memory starts to form that and you start to understand the information. They don't teach you that in psychology, by the way, either. But I do. I'm a little bit exhausted, actually. This is all it takes for me to go into the a little bit of a recovery mode. And I can't play golf because of this illness. So, but anyway, I do the best I can. This is why I stand in the shadow demonstrating this, because if I stand in the sun, I can't do this because that will be too much to deal with. So yeah. Anyway, build a skill. It will take you probably a few weeks, maybe a few months before you get there. If you use the thumb on the shaft thinking you can do it anyway, forget it. You have to use my grip and Hans version of it, otherwise it won't work. And you have to follow the instructions, tilt and lift, to make sure on video, confirm it on video that it works. Otherwise, it won't work. If you don't do all this stuff, we're using a blade club, so you can feel the difference, hear the difference. Because when they get that click with the club head hits the ball, and you get that confirmation from vibration that you hit the center of the sweet spot with the blade club, that's feedback. It will tell you immediately if you do things better or not. You can't do this with game improvement clubs. Don't use those shit clubs. And they teach they sell them to amateurs for, I don't know why. So buy one club at least, 9-iron wedge or something like that, that has a blade. You don't need to buy a whole new set, and use that to practice with. Be smart about it. Unless you're a rich bastard and you just buy it anyways, whole set with the whole blades. But you're gonna probably be having a little bit of a struggle playing with those because they're not so forgiving, as to say. The reason why people talk about forgiveness with the clubs is because people teach you golf badly, so you can't do it. If you do this with the thumb on the shaft, that's why you struggle with those blades. If you start doing this, blades gonna feel like awesome to play with. They teach you so badly. It's amazing because they don't understand simple golf swing dynamics. Do this for a whole summer, and your short game and your swing gonna get better. You won't understand that now, but in 6 months, if you've been doing this, then you will understand it. That's how understanding works. People can't understand something they haven't put into the body with skills and feedback and such. You still think you can do that without that, but you can't. Anyway, I'm too tired now, so I'm gonna call it, and hopefully you have some fun out there.